with my son and my stepson, I literally take them with me on shoots. So and shoots, the ones that they could accompany me on, and I had like a family shoot, and my son was there, and the client literally took, like, because he's very interested in it, so the client asked if he wanted to take a few pictures, so he was hyped.
Welcome to the Entrepreneurship podcast with X.T.C. I'm Shalonda.
I'm Tristan.
And I'm Chris.
As an entrepreneur starting or growing your business, you may have a destination, but the journey getting there can be a trip. We want to be your travel companions and inject a dose of X.T.C as we explore real-life conversations about navigating the world of entrepreneurship in the U.S. and the Caribbean. Come take this trip with us.
Welcome to another. Nah, we're not even doing this welcome thing. So this is what we're doing. The last episode was so good we had to do it twice. It's so nice we got to do it twice. I got bars now. No 50% quotes. We got bars. But now we're here. We enjoyed our last episode. We gave you a brief introduction as to who this guy Jamar is, sincere from the fam. And what we're about to do is give you a real deeper dive. A lot of times we bring these guys in, have a great conversation, but thanks to Chris's shot clock and the Taskmaster Shalonda, we don't have enough time to really get a gist of who these people are. So we're about to kick it off right now. Chris, let's get to sipping while we tripping.
All right.
So in another life, I really wanted to be like a promoter, like a real hype man. Like I just come on stage and like we just do these like quick casts, introduce people and be out.
Flavor Flav.
Whoa.
Oh, he went way back, way
back. But that's it. Just bring that kind of energy to a show.
Jamar drinking his water, minding his business.
He over here like, whoa, he was talking about 50 Cent quotes, and you gonna just let him slide with that flavor. You know what time it was. You knew what time it was. And that's it. So Chris, what you drinking? Let me see your triple threat real quick.
Well, I got the cognac going again. I still got the cafe and the agua over here. Really favoring the cognac at the moment. So
I know what I'm gonna do. We gotta get Chris one of those little baby bottles, because that cognac ain't look like it's really moving, or he's refilling really quick.
I'm refilling. got the bottle handy, my friend.
Oh, Shalana, where you at? What you got?
I'm with Jamar,
still
man.
don't like people
I'm
in morning?
drinking my water, trying to mind my business up in here. Like, stay hydrated.
Yeah, so what I got me sweating. Y'all see the little extra shines? It's like gas, it's bringing in that heat. Chris talk about bringing, what was it? Everybody could walk with their little woods to collaborate, and we're gonna make a big fire. Well, I don't need no extra wood. I'm going straight with the gas. Just a good cookout. You know that guy that just holds his.
That's you.
Then all the burgers taste like lighter fluid. All the.
It's a little better charred, man. It's just a little better charred. Add more wood. But sit tight. Let's unpack real quick. Get to know Jamar a little better. Perfect. Ooh. All right, guys. I just want y'all to know the other guest is ready to go. They packed. They're ready.
Ooh.
This is a busy day. Y'all entrepreneurs just tripping out all day. What we wanted to do in the last episode, right before we ended it, I called out my homegirl, Nadia, and that's where things got real. And we were like, you know what? We definitely really need to unpack more Sin's story as an entrepreneur. Give it to us, Sin. Briefly, we might interject in between, but we just want to know, like, what the process was like starting. I know I played a small part in it. But before you even had your business license, did it even occur to you to like really get one, or was just okay, just hustling?
I kind of like just hustling. Kind of in Uncle Sam a little bit. Pause. We don't have to, you know what I mean? But yeah, but realistically, for longevity wise, and just for making sure everything is done legitimately. It was the right way to go. That way, more doors could be opened as far as really tapping into like tourism, tapping into all the government funding that's available, the small business grants that they have available for us. And it's literally just free money out here, and you ain't get it without being legitimate. So it only makes sense to go that route.
Mm.
So one thing I've been talking about lately, and I read a lot with my personal friends, is the fact of knowledge. Like I really believe that, Shalana, if it took you 10 years to do something as an entrepreneur with your group, with your circle, we're supposed to make that information so accessible that what took you 10 years should take them five, and that 5 years that it took them, it should take somebody else too. Just
Mhm.
on that way, that information just like consistently flows. So saying like, who are some of the people that I want to say like that keep giving you that I don't want to say knowledge, making that information more accessible to you.
Well, my mother for sure been on me like, yo, you need to go do this. I know. Just tell me when you're ready. We'll make sure we get everything situated. You, Tristan, was influential, especially with like the grant talks and different things like that. And so between you and my mother, basically everything was. Oh, and my a DJ friend of my crop master, DJ Slick,
Mhm.
he pushing it like, yo,
Major pusher.
you need to jump on this because he had lined up a situation with me with Via, that same situation where I tell you did it in it take me a while to get paid because I wasn't in the system.
Mhm.
So he lined that situation up with me and he would tell me beforehand like, yo, you should do the business license, blah 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 blah. And in waiting for the money, he was like, now you see why I was telling you you should do the business license, you know what I mean? So all my close friends and associates, we try to encourage each other as far as business wise, and once money is to be made, like we try and push each other to make that money or anything as long as it's pushing you to be more successful. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's the main three people that was pushing me towards the business license.
Mm.
Well,
And
can I jump in here and ask a
sure,
question? Because I think that, a lot of our listeners who may be considering whether or not to start a business may be already doing the craft, right?
Mm-hmm.
true.
Or providing the service or the product. But there is this, and I don't mean to be such a woman, but there is this emotional leap that happens when you decide, okay, I can do this. I've been doing this as an individual, but then there's a emotional and a mindset shift that needs to happen when you decide you're going to legitimize and become a business, because then that business could in essence have longer longevity than you have as a person,
And
right?
Facts.
And I know one of the things that you talked about in the last episode is you're a family man, you're a dad of two kids. So I'm wondering if in your mind, when you decided to make that shift of just being an individual that has a really good craft and service to offer, did you stop to think by becoming an official, legitimate business, I'm actually putting things in place to create my legacy for
Mm.
my kids should they decide to take it over?
Definitely, because with my son and my stepson, I literally take them with me on shoots. So
Mhm.
and shoots, the ones that they could accompany me on. And I had like a family shoot, and my son was there, and the client literally took like because he's very interested in it. So the client asked if he wanted to take a few pictures. So he
Mhm.
was hyped that, and then I gave him like $30 or $25 from the payment. So now he wants to come on every he wants to spend it on Robux. So he want to shoot for Robux. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yep.
well,
Both of them want to come to the studio. They want to take pictures. So I let them take pictures of each other and different things like that, just in case they already have a head start if they want to go down that route.
And this is a
Shalana,
way we build generational wealth, right?
right.
But it's also the fact that when we collaborate with like-minded people, Our net worth is our net work.
Ooh,
Mm.
she's going back. She's going back.
Fact.
I love that bag.
Yes, and Jamar is a perfect example because you hear those words all the time, but to have somebody who's actually do it, share their story, kind of makes it feel more real.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the beauty of the entrepreneurship though, right?
Mhm.
You said something before I didn't really agree with. That's nothing new, and that's the emotional aspect. There's nothing female about that emotional aspect. It's
Mhm.
real. It's our passion. Is what it is we want. Is what it is that we really believe in. So it's not a female thing that
Mhm.
it's emotional.
Right.
It's a entrepreneur's thing as to why it
It's a
is
human
that
thing.
Yep.
it's a human thing as to why
We're
it
in
is.
agreement, Tristan. Oh my God.
It's about to be short lived. We got 3 minutes. We got three.
It's
But nah,
it's
Jamar,
sort of
I
like
think that's the beauty of it. With my kids, I do the same thing similarly. Um, they hang out, we hang out, and I think in the previous episodes, I was like, they're like, oh, we only come to hang out because when we go on shoots, but that's it. But then we started to teach them that wealth, like the wealth isn't in the money, right? The wealth is in the gifts and the service that we provide. Because at the end of that day, they're seeing, yes, it is a trade off, but what is it that they learn? There's no monetary value to it. It took us 30 years to get here, 30 years for us to figure out we need to start a business, we need to do this. And imagine them, they're just seeing the business from the jump. So that's already their mentality. They're like, oh, okay, I could
Yeah.
come straight on, and their thought is already business thought. You see what I'm
Yep.
saying? Their
Yep.
thoughts
Mhm.
is already, oh, we could get grants, we could get this. It took us 30 years. It took me 30 years to
Right.
get here to start to understand what the grant is, even how to structure certain businesses. We do sole partnerships. That's how we start. 6 months from now, I'm gonna start talking to Jamar about changing it to an LLC because it's better protected.
Yep.
And then from
Mhm.
there, who knows? I don't know much about trust now, but then we might start to set up trust to house these businesses. And that's just it. We just start to grow our network. We start to expand on that knowledge by taking these entrepreneurial trips with each other. There's nothing special about Jamar. This is our story all the time. We've been doing the hustle. We've been putting in the work. We've been getting paid.
Yep.
And the only thing we're looking back saying is like, oh man, I don't want to be taxed for that. I don't want to be taxed for that. Uncle
Uh,
Sam is just going, but it's not even Uncle Sam that's going to take it because we're still going to lose it anyway. So
Well,
if we
well,
don't want Uncle Sam to
if you don't
take
mind,
it,
I just want to interject here with a little piece of knowledge. So, as long as they are doing legitimate work for your business, you can hire your kids and pay each of them up to $12,000 per year tax free, even after they're 18.
Yeah.
so I'm not
So,
going to say I'm going to pay him and get him to kick it back to me because that's not legal. But what we're going to do is figure this thing out.
it's
But
but
tax
yeah,
what
free.
you're
So
teaching
yeah,
them is
save up
how to make
for
their own money.
exactly.
Mhm.
and that's it. That's where it is. Look at that. Chris just shared that with us. I didn't know that before. Now it is. You see, having knowledge is not the issue. It's how
I
we
heard
apply the knowledge.
I heard it before, but I didn't understand 100%. I know the same thing with like credit cards. You basically could
Put
put
them under the credit card to help
um
build their credit.
build
Hmm.
their credit.
I got
About
I heard
18.
about it. I'm not versed in it, but maybe my big sis might be able to help me in it. And this is what the entrepreneurship is all about: is us having these conversations with each other to help grow each other. So we're gonna take a detour real quick. Y'all see how I do that?
You
Y'all
know how
see
you
how
did that.
smooth
Good
these
job,
transitions
Kristen.
are?
Good job.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. So, Jamar, we spoke about collaborating. We brought you in to talk about collaborating. I want to hit this real quick. Is there any times that you could have possibly done collaborations that you didn't do that you look back at and was like, ah, man, I should have done that? Or, you
Um,
Oh
let
man,
me
I'm
see.
glad I didn't do that.
know, you're right. I got a couple
That
of
too.
those in my book.
Same.
He had a couple. I didn't want to call anybody names, but he had a couple situations where people hit me up. Oh, we should do this together. We should, um, whether it's a show or come together and put on a show.
Hmm.
And I was like, all right, it sounds like it makes sense. And then somebody else hit me up like, yo, if I was you, I wouldn't necessarily do that event with this person. And I really don't like to take other people's word or opinions on somebody else without forming my own opinion on them, because you and somebody else's situation may be totally different from mine.
Different. Yep.
Yeah.
And our energies probably don't align. And me and them might have a um, better relationship based on just the type of people we are compared to the type of person you and that person may be. So I don't like to generally do that. But for the in this situation, I asked the person why. They explained a couple of things to me, and in explaining that, they mentioned to me about somebody else that I know that had a similar situation with the person. So I asked them. They told me the same thing, and then mentioned somebody else too. So like three people that had the same situation with this one individual. So I was like, let me. So I talked to them more and kind of like throw different scenarios, like little wrenches in the plan to see what would happen. And then you start the character of the person start to show. So then it was like, all right, cool. I'll back away from this. No negative energy. Just um, this isn't something that works for me at the moment. And find out they were doing shady stuff, like shady business practices or whatever the case is. So in that aspect, me turning down that collaboration helped me out a lot. You know what I mean? Just with my name, my reputation, because I think they were like booking people and
Yep.
sending the deposit or saying they can send the deposit, put on the show, and then when the people come, don't have the money for them after promoting. Like, and the event makes enough money from ticket sales to then pay the artist, which is I'll never want to do that.
Yeah.
And there is a difference between, as an entrepreneur, between like feeding into the gossip and other entrepreneurs actually looking out for each other too. So it doesn't hurt to do your homework, and to your point, you followed up, you asked more questions, to figure out what the disagreements were or whatever. And yeah, so good on you for doing your due diligence to find out about the person, because I've done similar things, or I know, like, if I was going to work with somebody that Shalanda's worked with, and she's like, "Hey, Chris, hold on 1 second, before you do that, let's."
That's all it takes.
Exactly. So
that's all it takes. If Shalanda checks them, I'm done.
yep.
It's good to knowing your friends, knowing who you're dealing with, so then like, if I talk to Tristan about a situation and he tells me like, "Yo, I wouldn't use this equipment for this," I trust his judgment. So I would
Right.
be like, I need a second opinion, because I feel in this field, he is somebody I could trust as far as his word being on a certain product. The same way he feels, if you said this person is no good for what you're trying to do, he just automatically doesn't have to go too much in searching to figure it out, because he trusts your judgment. He know the type of person you are.
Exactly.
All right, so
And
let's
the
figure out
person
kind of.
is looking out for your best interest. That's what
Right.
it is. Yeah.
All right, so let's see who's looking out for our best interest or Sin's best interest in these souvenirs.
All righty. Souvenirs from the conversation. Well, who was looking out for Sin's best interest? His mama.
Like, always,
Shout out to the
uh,
mamas. Because I'm one, and I have a business with my daughter, so I get it. Another person looking out for Sin during his time is fellow entrepreneurs, which is one of the reasons we decided to do this podcast, right?
Yep.
Is to start to really create a community where we can help each other grow and really thrive and really prosper. So, knowing who to collaborate with and who not to collaborate with is another souvenir that's worthy of conversation. The other souvenir was you might be really dope at what you do as an individual, but really to maximize your generational wealth and to be able to open more doors and have more opportunities, consider legitimizing as a business. The type
correct.
of business that you do is very important. So you need to really think about your company structure. A lot of us go towards more the limited liability because we're protected a little bit more than maybe a sole
Yep.
proprietorship. And if you're going into a partnership with somebody, you're just as responsible as they are. So you better know your partner really well. You better have high trust levels
Yep.
with that partner.
Hold on,
Um,
real quick.
yep.
I plan your breakup. Plan your breakup.
Your
We don't like to
breakup.
speak about it,
The
but
prenup.
plan your breakup from the jump. So in that way,
Yeah. Get that
everybody
prenup.
knows.
Get that prenup
Everybody
before you get
knows.
married.
One of the best ways I heard of this was from a professor at Full Sail. So I did my recording arts bachelor's and then entertainment business masters. In the master's program, there's a professor who basically was saying, yeah, you need, like, if you're getting married, get a prenup. If you're doing a business, basically get a prenup. And people were like, yeah, but like they're my friend or family. Well, first he said, never do business with friends or family. But if you are, have that prenup, because the way you save those relationships and preserve those relationships is by having that prenup, because everything was agreed on the front end. So it's like, hey, no, like you agreed to this, and it's not when, the emotions are high, when you're in a heated breakup with no plan in place, then that's where, shit hits the fan. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's it. And if you got family or friends and you're doing business with them, they're your family and friends. Planning that breakup means nothing to them, because they don't even plan to break up with you. You see what I'm saying? So that should be something like easy to sign off on. When I went to do the projects with Sin, it's I don't even second guess. Like he said, come out, we're gonna do this, and I'm there.
Yep.
I know in our worst case, in our worst case, we get upset, I'm going home empty-handed. He's bringing home all the equipment, and it's that simple. Because at that point in time, we're not going to jeopardize the project. You see what I'm saying? So if at that moment we hit the worst of the worst, I know I'm leaving the equipment so in that way he could complete the objective, because the objective is what's important.
Yep.
It's what's bigger than us. So he just knows that he got to pack up by himself, and that's it.
And I'll just add one quick thing, and I'll give credit for my a relationship I really respect was my wife and her former boss. They were friends outside of work, but basically a boss-employee relationship in work. So every time she would call, her boss would call her, she would say, "I'm calling you as your boss," or "I'm calling you as your friend." And she would basically say that up front, where when you're in work, like, hey, I'm your boss, and that's how it is. And when you're outside of work, like, we can have fun, but there is that differentiator.
You gotta compartmentalize. You gotta compartmentalize sometimes. So we're gonna go into the other compartment with that beautiful view. Show us that window, Chris. All right. So last time I was a little disappointed. I'm not gonna let you start talking.
I'm back to the Chinese proverbs.
Thank you. You can go ahead.
All right, and this kind of goes back to bringing your kids on shoots and things like that, paying them, etc. So it's about building your empire as an entrepreneur. So the Chinese proverb, unattributed, is: if you are planning for a year, sow rice. If you are planning for a decade, plant trees. If you are planning for a lifetime, educate people. And so I think.
Ooh, I love that.
Bars. All right.
Yeah.
See, we still got bars, Tristan.
Jokes is back.
Okey jokes. All right.
But I mean, I think that really, and again, shout out to Jamar and Tristan and Shalonda too, bringing your kids out, or working with your kids, helping them with understand the struggles that we have had to deal with ourselves and figure out ourselves, and hopefully make that, their path is going to be their path. Jamar, you said in the last episode, in a great way, that the road to success is always under construction. But they're going to be able to learn from your mistakes and be that much more advanced. Hold on. All right, wait, one second, and okay, go.
But you do too, Chris, because you have the little boss who we have to make sure we schedule our recordings around. So she's had her nap and she's in a good mood. So she's actually running. She's the boss behind the Entrepreneur's Trip, even though, what is she, a year old now?
Yep. Almost 14 months.
Think about it.
Yep.
She's exercising those leadership skills.
Oh, she's way better than I am.
Think about it though.
I lose every negotiation.
Really she's really, really not too young. Look at what DJ Khaled did with his son one year. I think he made him the executive producer on the album. So no matter what, they would always be paid their royalties. They're not too young. Have the conversation. Just talk. they might not understand it now, but somehow I'm not sure how it works. They say that when they encounter it later on, it's supposed to, I don't want to say trigger the fact that they heard it,
Yep.
or whatever it is. But we could just have those conversations, not for them to understand now, because right now they're the rice. At some point in time, they're gonna be trees, and they're gonna have to embark on that lifetime journey, that knowledge, that journey of knowledge. So just think about it that way. She's not too young. Have that conversation.
Very true.
Because we're building a future. We're building that empire. So thank you guys for another trip, another episode of the Entrepreneurship. We got it in the bag. Hopefully we got a lot more in the bag. We got nuggets from Shalanda, quotes from Chris, pictures from Sin. We got a lot going on collectively. So sit tight. We're about to bring you some more episodes. This is where it is you come to see people like you do things like you and give you a little more knowledge about what it is that we do, because regardless of the fact, we're all entrepreneurs, whether we choose to acknowledge it or not, act on it or not. But just be ready for these trips.
Thanks for joining us on this trip, Jamar. It's been real.
Thank you for having me.
All right, trippers.
You'll be back.
Yep, exactly. Or we'll have your kids on the episode when they're... All right, trippers, thank you again for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Alrighty. Thank you for taking this trip with us. We hope you had a great time. Join us every Tuesday for another dose of X.T.C. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and visit us at theentrepreneursstrip.com for more entrepreneurship tips